Hare Krishna everyone, Danvat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. We are reading Bhagavad Gita chapter 15. Let's all recite Manglacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitanjena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Guru Yutapadkamlam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Satam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Paritana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sakana Lalita Shri Visakanvitam Shri
Hey
Krishna
Krishna,
Karuna Sindhu
Karuna Sindhu,
Dinabantu
Dinabandhu
Jagarpate
Jagapate,
Gopesha
Gopesha
Gopika Kanta
Gopikanta,
Radha
Radha
Kanta
Kanta
Namostate
Namaste,
Tapta
Tapta Kanchana
Kanchana
Gaurangi,
Gaurangi
Radhe
Radhe
Vrindavaneshwari,
Vrindavaneshwari Vishvanu Sute
Vishvanu
Devi
Sute Devi,
Pranamami Hari
Pranamami
Priye
Hari Priye,
Vanchakaltarubhyascha Kripa
Vanchakalpatarubhyasya,
Sindhubhya
Kripa
Eva cha
Sindhubhyascha,
Patitanam
Patitanam
Pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo,
Vaishnavebhyo Namo
Vaishnavebhyo
Namah
Namo.
Jai Shri Krishna
Jai Shri
Chaitanya
Krishna
Prabhu
Chaitanya, Prabhu
Nityananda Shri
Nityananda,
Advaita
Shri
Gadadhara Shri
Advaita
Vasadi
Gadadhara,
Gaur
Shri Gaur
Bhaktivinoda
Bhaktivinoda.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna Krishna
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna
Krishna
Prishtaya
Krishna Krishna,
Bhutale
Bhutale,
Srimati
Srimati
Bhakti
Bhakti
Vedanta
Vedanta,
Swami Iti Namine
Vinam.
Namaste
Namaste
Saraswati
Saraswati
Deve
Deve,
Gauravani
Gauravani
Pracharine
Pracharine,
Nirvishesha
Nirvishesha
Shunyavadi
Shunnyavadi,
Paschatya Karine
Paschatyadesh
Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pandit
Vachalam Pandam
Langayate Girim
Langate Girim
Yatripatam
Yatripatam
Vande
Vande
Sundina
Shri
Tarakam
Tarakam
Paramanandam
Paramananda Madhavam Shri
Krishna
Krishna Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Ishwaram
Ishwaram Guruve Gaura Chandraya
Gaurachandraya
Radhikaya
Radhikaya
Tadalare
Tadalare
Krishnaya Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Bhaktaya
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 Namo Namah Vibhor Hare Hare Krishna Nana Prabhuji Danvat Pranam Jai Shri Prabhupada Vibhor, thank you for joining. Okay, so let's start with Bhagavad Gita chapter 15, the Yoga of the Supreme Person or Purushottam Yoga. So let's hear from everybody since it's been a while we did this chapter again. So what all do you remember from this chapter so far? I think we have only done maybe 4 verses. Who would like to share whatever they remember from their memory about this chapter? Yes, Avni, please.
The first verse talks about how there's like this tree and it's like a banyan tree, I think, and how it's like the reflection of it is like the material world. It's like backwards, like how in material world servant is the lowest, but then in spiritual world servant is the highest.
Yes, Hari Bol. So Avni is referring to the first verse of this chapter, which talks about an upside down banyan tree or Bargad ka ped, right? Bargad ka ped, you must have seen, it's very, very vast typically, right? You see all these branches going and then it has these roots that go downward and then some roots come upward like that. It is a very different type of tree. So Krishna is saying that this is giving us the reality of this material world, right? What is this material world? Actually, he's giving us the reality that this material world is nothing but a reflection of this banyan tree. So in the reflection, everything appears upside down. So this material world is like an upside down banyan tree. And then he gives various parts of that tree. That the real tree is the spiritual world and its reflection on the water that you see is the material world. So material world is nothing but a perverted reflection of the actual spiritual world, right? And then he gives various limbs and various aspects of the tree. Okay, Nirbhay Prabhu wanted to share. Hare Krishna, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Yes, that's the pretty much the same thing that about the banyan tree, and then this is this world is like a perverted reflection, and the water. that grows this tree further is our desires. So that is what feeds this tree. And we need to, Krishna says that we need to cut down this tree, so that uh, we can go back to the spiritual world. So this is very deep rooted tree. It's and you know the Vedic hymns is the twigs, leaves and twigs of this tree, was the second verse, I think. And so yeah, that's what I remember. Hare Krishna.
Yes, very good. So the water on which it is situated is the desires. If there was no water, there will not be any reflection, right? So that water um, is the desires, and the watering process which grows the tree. How do we keep getting entangled in this tree? The watering process which makes this tree thicker and bigger for us is our fruitive activities. Okay, fruitive activities, karm kand, all these things that are done for material desires, they make this tree thicker and bigger for us. So we get more and more entangled in this material world, and difficult to get rid of this tree. And Nirbhay Prabhu rightly said that the goal is to break this tree for us, to cut down this tree with the acts of detachment for us. Yes, Vedi, please share.
Hare Krishna. In the 5th verse, he also says, he talks about that those who are free from like false prestige, illusion, false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with this material lust, and who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, who are unbewildered, they are the ones who know how to surrender into the Supreme Person to attain the eternal abode.
Yes, Haribol. I think we have to do that verse today. Um, Verse number 5, we'll do that. We did it a little bit last time, but we'll do it a little bit more today. But yes, so people that are free from all these problems of false prestige, pride, illusion, right? Too much attachments, who are free from the dualities of this world, they can cut down this tree and come to my spiritual abode. So in this chapter, basically Krishna is telling us the what this material world is like, what his spiritual abode is like, how he is the supreme person. Remember, the chapter is called Yoga of Supreme Person, how he is the supreme person and he's our maintainer, and we should take his shelter. So that is what he will come at the end. So initially he's talking about this material world, the nature of this material world. Now, so okay, I think we've talked about the tree. Who else would like to give some differences between the spiritual and material world? Avni mentioned one. She mentioned one point that in spiritual world, being servant, being or in a serving position to the devotees or to the other people is considered a high position. Whereas in this world, being a servant is considered a low position, right? Being a lord is considered the high position in this material world. So she gave one difference. What other differences do we know? How is this a reflection? Reflection means opposite of material world. So let's take some more differences between the two worlds. Okay, Nirbhay Prabhu wants to share. Let's see if somebody who has not spoken wants to share. Raina, you want to share? Yes.
The material world, everything's temporary, and then in the spiritual world, everything is eternal.
Very bold, very good, yes. So, Sat Chit Anand, right? So, it means that Sat means eternal, that everything is eternal in spiritual world, whereas here everything is destroyed eventually, right? Time, who is the great destroyer. Krishna says, we have read these verses. Krishna says, time I'm the great destroyer. I will destroy everything with my energy called time. I am the greatest subduer of all. So time destroys everything, right? Whether it's our body, the beauty, everything gets destroyed in time, right? And then also material world goes through these cycles of annihilation, and each jiva goes through the cycle of birth and death, right? So in material world, time acts in a um, very destructive way, whereas in spiritual world, time acts in a very beautiful way. Time enhances everything in spiritual world. Okay, time increases the love for Krishna. Time increases our knowledge, our bliss increases in spiritual world. We cannot even imagine that because we're just used to everything fading away slowly, gradually getting destroyed. But in spiritual world, time helps to facilitate the pastimes of Krishna. It enhances things. So thank you, Raina. Yes, everything is temporary here. Okay, Nita Mataji wants to share. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Athar wanted to share. He asked me to share that in spiritual world, nobody is there to judge you.
Yes,
In Athar,
very good. Athar, we want to hear from you. He's being shy, huh? We'll all
yes.
close. What if we all stopped our videos? Then you can look at us and share. Huh? No? Okay. So yeah, you're right. Just like you said, this is in spiritual world, nobody judges. So this, this little Zoom is nothing but spiritual world. This is a little spiritual world right here. So nobody's going to judge you. So you can look at us and share. But very, very rightly shared, right? In material world, the end result matters, right? You may have done like thousands of things the correct way, but one time you go wrong, people will remember you for that, right? People will criticize and condemn you for that, right? Even in your relationships, you can see you will be serving somebody, whether your spouse, your kids, or your family members, right? You serve them with all your heart, you do everything for them. One thing you don't do, they'll remember and criticize. You didn't do this for me that day, right? Or in your profession, you will be doing everything, you'll be working hard for 20 plus years, then you will lose your job one day because you did one thing wrong. So in material world, it depends on the end result. Everything is about faida, about benefit, about gain, right? Your intentions, your efforts don't mean much, right? So you may study, let's say you studied day in and day out in material world, but if you fail the exam, you're still considered a failure. You will not be allowed to go to the next thing. But in spiritual world, even if you put a little effort, right, Krishna rewards that. Like Jatayu is a best example. Jatayu, if you think about it, he was a failure. He was not able to save Mother Sita, and while trying to save her, he got killed himself. Yet Lord Ram came and rewarded the best. He did his Anteshti and all the last ceremonies, last rites. Lord Ram did with his own hands, right? Whereas in this world, if you fail, you will not be rewarded like that, right? Only the failure will be remembered. So in this way, yes, there is no judgment. There is only your service, only your intention, your love, your devotion is valued and rewarded. And everything we do in this world is temporary, like Raina said. So you may have acquired PhDs and MDs and so many credentials behind your name, but in the next life you will again start from zero, again from nursery, right? So it ends. But in spiritual world, whatever you did in your previous life, whatever spiritual credit you earned, it will carry on. This is Krishna's mercy that it will carry on. You will start from the same position you left. And this was confirmed in chapter 6, right? Krishna said that. Okay, who else wants to share some more differences between spiritual and material world? So we are learning what is the true nature of this material world. It's a perverted reflection. So let's hear more. Vinita or yes,
Hare Krishna.
yes, Vinita, go ahead.
So like in the material world, happiness is an illusion, and it's not real because it's temporary, and in the spiritual world, it's permanent.
Yes, amazing. This is such a beautiful point. I had actually forgotten. Yes. So Vinita said happiness in this material world is not real, right? Because whatever, happiness you think you're getting from some sense gratification, from fulfilling some fruitive desires, right? It is very short term. And in the end, that will also entangle you, right? And if you are, so for example, let's take some example. Can you give an example, Vinita? Let's hear from you. How happiness in this world is not the true happiness and just causes ultimately misery and binds us. Anybody can give an example for that? Yes,
So
Anita Mataji, please.
this is not a permanent. So whatever happiness that we are having it, that may stay for hour or day. So immediately we have to. Every time we are depending on others. Happiness will not come ourselves. Based on the situation, based on the people, the happiness may go. So we are not experiencing. That's what my understanding. We are not experiencing happiness. So always the things will, because the things will change it. Since things are changing, right? We don't know when that things will be good for us. So today I think this is a object is happy, giving happy to me. Tomorrow I don't know. Definitely that may change it. That's what my intention. Thank
Yes,
you.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Danvat Pranam. Thank you for joining us. Where are you joining from, Prabhuji?
I'm joining in the Colorado.
Colin? Oh, okay, okay, okay. From Memphis, close to Memphis. Okay, very bold. Thank you so much. This is just our weekly Sangha, our Bhakti Vriksha. We meet every Sunday morning for Bhagavad Gita discussion. We are right now on chapter 15, where Krishna is talking about the material world, how that is like a perverted reflection of the spiritual world, like a reflection of the of a actual banyan tree. So we're talking about the differences between material and spiritual world. So thank you for mentioning that point about happiness. First of all, we don't even know what will actually bring us happiness. We might think that this thing will bring us happiness. For example, I might take a job, and I might think, oh, I'm very happy that day because I got this job. But then in a few years, I may realize that actually this job is not good. People are very horrible there. They might mistreat, they may not pay me well, right? I may have to work extra there, things like that. So that thing that I thought was a source of happiness to me actually may prove a source of misery. So Prabhuji brought a very, very nice point. We don't even know what actually is the true source of happiness for us. We may think, okay, I eat this right now, and eating this will bring me happiness, right? But within 2 hours, my stomach is hurting. I'm running to the bathroom because I got sick with eating that. So I don't even know if that thing that is apparently supposed to bring me happiness will actually be a source of misery for us, right? And then even if something did bring happiness for a short while, it will only be very short lasting. Like if I bought a car, right? And then my neighbor bought a bigger car or a better car. And I might get envious. Oh, I saved so much money after so much effort. I finally got this car. And what is the point? My neighbor now has a bigger, better car than me. Everybody's admiring his car and not mine, right? So I may not be able to enjoy this car that I got. So whatever we think we are able to enjoy in this material world is very, very dependent on various, three modes of material nature, dependent on our conditioning, and they subdue, they fade away. The happiness fades away. It is not eternal. It is not bliss. It is not anand. It is just sukh. It is just a short-lived sukh. What else? So thank you, Vinita. Very nice point. Thank you, Prabhuji, for expanding on it. What else? I think Nirbhay Prabhu wanted to share.
Hare Krishna. So yes, in spiritual world, everything is everyone is doing everything to please Krishna. That is the only the service to the Lord is the only goal for everyone and everything. Everything has got consciousness in the spiritual world. So like here we have things which don't have consciousness, right? So let it be, if the food is there, or the house we live in, or anything, some of these things don't have consciousness. Only the living entities have consciousness. But in the spiritual world, everything has consciousness. It's a Damodar Leela. It is beautifully described how the milk is boiling because it is feeling the separation that is Mother Yashoda feeding Krishna the milk. Then Krishna would not be able to drink me, which is the milk. So even the milk has got consciousness. The grass has got consciousness. It is described in Vrindavan Leelas that how the Vraj Dham, it becomes soft, and the pebbles and everything, the rocks melt so that Krishna doesn't feel the hard surface. So everything has got consciousness and everything is working for the pleasure of Radha and Krishna. Hare Krishna.
You're on mute, Mataji.
Hari bol. Sorry, I was saying in spiritual world, Lord is in the center, Radha Krishna is in the center, right? In material world, we keep ourselves in the center. We are the center of. If you listen to some of the motivational speakers, I've heard it myself. They will say that you should be the center of your world. You know, you should keep yourself the center of the world. So that concept, that will probably boost your self-confidence or something for a short while. But actually, that makes, if everybody just tries to work for themselves, there will be so much conflict in the world. Right? Look at all the wars that happen. They happen because of the egocentric tendencies of the people, because of everything should be for my pleasure, me, mine. It is mine. But how come anybody else took it? Right? This is me. This is my property. This is my fame, this is my name, this is my wealth, like that. So if everybody is about me, my, mine, then there will be so much conflicts and quarrels in the world. But imagine if everybody is working towards one goal. If for everybody, for me, I'm not the center, for me, Krishna is center, for you, Krishna is center, for everybody, Krishna is center, then they're all working towards pleasing Krishna. They all have common goals, common instructions that they're following, right? And how everybody can then progress. Instead of I'm thinking, I just want to progress myself and I don't care about anybody. Then what will happen? I'll just, do everything for myself and try even destroy other people who may come in my way, right? That is what happens in the society today. Whether it's, our leaders, politics, they're not working for the society. They're not working for the people. They're not working to please the Lord. Unlike the kings from before, right? Kings used to be saintly kings before. Raj Rishis like Parikshit Maharaj, Yudhishthir Maharaj, they used to be Raj Rishis. So their goal was to please the Lord. And in pleasing the Lord, they were helping the society, their kingdom in such a beautiful, wonderful way. Everybody was progressing. There was Ram Raj, right? Ram Raj basically means that everybody is happy, everybody is progressing both materially and spiritually. But now everybody is about me, my, mine. I want to do the best for me. Like Prabhupada used to say that without a common parenthood, there can be no universal brotherhood. Right? Everybody says we want peace in this world. We want universal brotherhood. How can you have universal brotherhood when there is no common parenthood? When your parent is your parenthood is that me, I am the best. I want to be the Lord of this world. Right? So you're all serving yourself. If we forget about service to ourselves, we service Krishna, everything will be taken care of. So that is a very beautiful point. Lord is in the center in spiritual world, whereas in material world, we keep ourselves. The self is in the center. Anybody else wants to share any differences? If not, I'll share a couple more and then we can move on. Yes, Raina.
In the material world, everyone is ignorant and they're like, oh, I am this body, I am this person. And then in the spiritual world, everyone knows that like I am part of Krishna and stuff like that.
Right. Okay. So there is no illusion, right? There is no illusion. There is full knowledge. So I think you all covered Sat, Chit, Anand, all three. The happiness or bliss part we covered, eternal versus temporary part we covered, and now Ryan also covered the intelligence, the knowledge part, that nobody is an illusion, right? Everybody is in full knowledge that I'm not this body, I'm Krishna's servant, I'm Krishna's part and parcel, right? So perfect. So there is no illusion. Any other points? Okay, so I was thinking, this whole concept of tree, I'll try to summarize in a very short story. So once there was a princess who was given this beautiful necklace by her father, okay, to wear. But one day, the necklace was just laying on her dressing table, and a crow came through the window and took the necklace and flew away with it. And Princess was very upset that her beautiful necklace given by her father as a gift got stolen. So she told her father, please send people out to look for that necklace. I really want that necklace. Her father said, why don't I buy you another one? She said, no, I really just want that same necklace. Please find it. So he put a reward on it that whoever finds this necklace of my daughter, I'll give this much reward. Everybody started looking for it. Then some person was walking next to a pond, and suddenly they see this necklace in the pond. Hmm? As soon as they saw the necklace, he said, "Oh, this is the same picture that King put out. This is the princess's necklace. I had better get it." Hmm? So he jumped into the pond to get the necklace. But as he was trying to get it, he's swimming very hard. He's not able to grab it. Somehow it doesn't seem to come into his reach at all. He tries to grab it and it just slips out. There's like nothing. Only water comes in his hand. In this way, while trying to grab it, he went into very deep water, and actually turned out to be lot of mud, like daldal. What is daldal called in English? Mire or like a bog. Hmm? He went into this bog, huh? Where when you enter into a bog, it is very difficult to get out, and the more you struggle, the more you get stuck in it. So he was stuck in this bog, and the necklace was still there, but he just could not grab it. So then another person came walking by the pond, and he saw the dilemma of this guy, and he said, "Oh, what are you doing here?" He said, "Can't you see this necklace? I'm trying to get hold of it. This is princess's necklace, and I'm just not able to grab it." So the person started laughing at him, and he said, "Okay, hold on. Let me pull you out of this pond, and then I'll get this necklace for you." He pulled the person out of the pond. He helped him get out, and he said, "You see that necklace still there in the pond?" He said, "Yes. Don't you see it?" He said, "I see it too, but that's not the real necklace. Look up on the tree." The necklace was hanging up on the tree, and this person was just seeing the reflection in the pond, and he was trying to chase after the reflection, and in chasing after that reflection, he was getting deep and deep into that bog and getting entangled, getting stuck more and more. So that is our position in the material world. That is our situation, like that person. The real fruit is on the real tree. The real tree is the spiritual world, right? So on the real tree, if there is a mango, you can pluck it, you can eat it, you can smell it, you can taste it, you can touch it, hold it in your hand. But if you're going for a fruit in the reflection, the mango that you see in the reflection, you can never eat it. You can try it, but you can never pluck it off the tree. Then you cannot touch it. You cannot smell it. There is no real smell to it. There is no real taste to it. There is no real, you cannot hold it, nothing. It's just a reflection. So that is this material world. Anything we do here, it's like a dream. It's like a reflection. It is very, very temporary. It will be over very, very soon. So our time here is very, very short, right? And instead of getting entangled chasing after those reflections, after those shadows, we should really try to get out of this material world, break this tree, like Krishna says, break this attachment to this reflection, right? We are very attached to this reflection, to these short-term happiness that we get here. And if we can break that attachment to this short-term affection, we can come out of here, not get entangled more and more. All these fruitive activities that we do, all these things just bind us more and more in this material world. So I wanted to say that story so that we can understand because everybody thinks, what is this tree Krishna talking about? What does it mean by perverted reflection? What does it mean by a shadow? So this world is real, right? We can see it. We can perceive it. So how can it be an illusion? Why does everybody keep saying the material world is an illusion? It is real. It is also made by Krishna, right? It is also served by Krishna's various energies, no doubt. But it is not our real position. Our position, just like a fish's position is in the water, right? And if you take fish out of water, she will struggle really badly. She will struggle. Just like that, we are struggling in this material world because we do not belong here. Krishna will say that in verse uh, 7, I think, Prakriti Sthani Karshiti, how we are struggling here. So let's read the next verse. So we have to read verse 5. We did it quickly the last time, but we'll take it a little bit more today. And this is the memory verse. Some of you remember it. So please repeat. We'll read and follow. We're reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse 5. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha
Nirmani
Nirmano
moha
Nitya
sangra dosha
Sangradosha
अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामा
Adhyatmanittya Vinivritakama
द्वन्द्वे विमुक्ता सुखदुःखा समज्ञे
Vimukta
Mukta
samagye
गच्छन्ति अमूढा पदमव्ययम्
gachanti
Okay, let's read this. So I know most of you know that many of you know this verse. So those of you don't, please try to memorize. This is a memory verse, 15.5. So anybody wants to read the translation?
Can I read Mataji as I have to leave at 10 o'clock?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for reading. So this is, in this verse, Krishna is talking about how we need to detach ourselves from this material world. What are the things this material world, this tree will make us do? What will it make us do? It will give us this false prestige or pride. Okay. So false prestige or pride basically means nirman moha. Nirman means that it is not mine, right? So be in this position where you think it is not mine. Mam or means mine, right? Nirman means it's not mine, right? No man, no prestige. Where it is, there is no man, there is no prestige in this world. So be free from that false prestige that trying to become the lord of this world, taking. Trying to establish supremacy or greatness in this world, right? Establishing lordship over this material world, right? So understand your real position. Like one of you mentioned that the real position is that we are the servant of the Lord. So have that as the real prestige, real point of pride, not pride in this material world, not pride in the temporary identifications we have that, oh, I'm doctor, I'm doing such great work, or I'm a computer engineer, I've made these thousands of softwares, or oh, I'm such a great cook, or I'm such a great dancer, various identifications, whatever identifications we have based on this body, that is called false prestige. So be free from that false prestige, always be in the true identity of being a servant to the Lord, right? So understand your real situation. The real situation here is that we are basically being kicked by the Maya at all the times. Every single person is being kicked by Maya the whole entire time. That is our real position right now. So instead of identifying with Maya, identify with being the servant of Krishna, right? Jaha Krishna, taha nahi Maya adhikar. So nirman moha. Moha means illusion. So don't be in that illusion that everything is mine, that I have any real property in this world. Jita Sangha dosha. So be freed from the Sangha of what? Sangha of material world. Be freed from the association of this material world. Conquer, Jita. Conquer the Sangha dosh. Sangha dosh means the faults of association of this material world. So somebody who has conquered over the illusion of false prestige, somebody who has conquered over the Sangha dosh or attachment of this material world, right? Adhyatma Nitya, someone who's practicing Adhyatma or spiritual practices daily, right? Who is firmly situated in the spiritual knowledge, right? They have no doubt that they are servants of Krishna. They don't take pride in this material world. They are always serving the Lord, Adhyatma Nitya. Vinivritta Kama. Kama means lust. So we're free of this lust, free from the material lust, right? They want to serve Krishna's senses, not their senses. Okay, so 4 qualities we have discussed so far. Fifth, Dvandve Vimukta. Dvandva means dualities. So who's free from the dualities of this material world? The struggle that we have in this bog, in this daldal, he knows that these struggles are temporary. The Dvandve Vimukta. Sometimes we will be floating freely, sometimes we will be struggling in the bog. Like that, in this material world, there will always be cycles of happiness and distress, right? Short-term happiness, short-term distress. Again happiness, again distress, right? Sometimes fame, sometimes infamy, sometimes failure, sometimes success, right? These cycles of time will keep going. So time goes in cycles like that. So understand that dvandve vimukta and be free from that duality. And in this way, sukha dukha samagye, meaning treating happiness and distress same, in a same mood, treating both, not getting too upset, agitated, anxious when there is dukh, and not getting too overly proud, overly arrogant, and lording it over the world when there is sukh, right? So like that. So these are the qualities of a person, a muda, who is intelligent, who's not a muda. Muda means a foolish person. A muda means intelligent person, unbewildered person, who knows his real position, who knows that this is just a reflection, just a shadow where I'm temporarily stuck. So that person will achieve the supreme destination, Padam Avyayam Tat. He will achieve the eternal destination. So this is the goal for us, that we should have these qualities where there is no illusion of pride. Like look at Prabhupada, right? Prabhupada accomplished so much, but if you have seen this letter that he wrote on Jalduta, he signed it as your most unfortunate beggar or something like that. He wrote most unfortunate beggar. So can you, and always he prayed in that mood to Krishna, right? Kirtaniya Sadahari, Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarurapi Sahishnuna, right? How can we be humble like a blade of grass? Don't have any false prestige or pride. So that in that mood, Kirtaniya Sadahari, that was the mood of Prabhupada, the most unfortunate fallen beggar, right? Like that he would address himself. And then, so no bodily illusion, right? Understand that you are the spirit soul, part of Krishna. Jita Sangha Dosha, how can you conquer the association of Maya? Just do the Sangha of all the paraphernalias that are recommended in our scriptures, like Guru, right? Sadhu, okay, like devotees, basically Sadhu means devotees or pure devotees of the Lord. Shastra, scriptures, right? Hear the scriptures, read the scriptures, serve the Guru, right? Hear the Vani of the Guru, do the body seva of the Guru if needed. So Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. And then what else? Do the deity worship, right? Look at the beautiful, beautiful lotus face of the lordships, right? Serve the deities. Do the various services. Vaishnav Seva. Vaishnav Seva is the one of the topmost process recommended by Mahaprabhu actually, Vaishnav Seva, right? There is no other way to get free from the contamination of Maya other than by doing Vaishnav Seva. So engage in some kind of services for the devotees. And then Nam Kirtan, right? Nam Ruchi. So always develop taste for chanting the holy names of the Lord. So in this way, associate with different forms of Krishna that are available to us in this material world. Attach yourself to all these processes, A, B, C, D, E. Right? Visit the dham, visit the temples of the Lord, eat Krishna prasadam, serve the devotees, read the books, hear the books, chant the names, like that. So that's how one can conquer the association or contamination of Maya. And always have a healthy fear of Maya. Always remember that if I don't do these things, then Maya is like the guard dog of Krishna. She's like the watchdog, right? She's sitting outside the house. She will not let you enter into the supreme destination, into the eternal house of Krishna, if you are trying to, tempt Maya. Then she will catch you, right? So any weakness she sees, right? You're not doing these services, you're not chanting, you're not serving the devotees, you're not eating prasadam, you're not trying to develop the taste for Krishna, then Maya will get you, right? So we have a healthy fear of this material world. Adhyatma Nityam, right? By all these practices, we can always be situated in spiritual knowledge. Vinivritta Kama, this is a very important point. Free from lust or free from desires, right? Wanting to serve Krishna's Indriya, not your own senses. So I want to hear from other people in the conference. How can, what do you understand by not serving our senses but serving Krishna's senses? Somebody who has not shared so far, if they would like to share.
I can share, Mataji.
Yes, Madhu, please.
So like when we are like, we are cooking our meals and we are making delicious food for ourselves, whatever we desire that day we want to cook, but we should try to cook and serve it to Krishna, to please Krishna, offer it as prasadam, and then take it as a blessing. That is probably one example. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, Hari Bol, wonderful. So eating for your own senses versus first serving the Lord, trying to prepare the bhoga that he would like, and then honoring that prasad as a remnant, right? That is, yes, that is a very good example. What else? Can anybody else give example of serving Lord's senses and not just your own?
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
So like, like if we see a beautiful flower, we, instead of thinking that we need to enjoy it, or how beautiful it is, let me put in my, loved one's hair or something like that, or keep it in my house to decorate the house. We offer those flowers to Krishna, and we should have that feeling that actually anything that we see that's beautiful, that's nice, a devotee always thinks about it, that, oh wow, I should offer this to Krishna. Krishna would like it. So that is the mood when we are saying that, serving the senses of the Lord. So, Hare Krishna.
Yes, very bold. Yes, so instead of engaging that flower in your own service, engage that in Krishna's service, right? First offer to the Lord. Okay, what else? Any other examples come to mind? Ashok Prabhu, would you like to share anything? What does this mean to you, serving Krishna's senses? Okay, no problem, Prabhuji. So I'll give one line, to just make it easy and see if some more examples come to mind. Serving Krishna's senses is nothing but engaging your own senses in the service of the Lord. Okay, and there is a beautiful verse that comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita which says, I'll say this. I don't have it pulled up, so I'll just say it and you can pull it up. I don't know the number. Trying to remember the tune. आत्मेन्द्रिया प्रीतिवाञ्छा तारी बालिकामा कृष्णेन्द्रिया प्रीतिच्छा धरे प्रेम नामा. Right? Atmendriya pritivancha, meaning to serve your own senses. Atmendriya, your own senses. Atmendriya pritivancha tari balakama, that is called calm or lust. Krishnendriya priti cha dhare prema nama. And to serve the senses of Krishna is called prem. That is called love. So in this world, we think, we use the term love very loosely, right? I love this, I love this. So that is basically lust, right? We are just trying to satisfy our senses, because our senses like to gratify themselves. They like to engage with some sense object, right? Like my eyes want to see something beautiful, my hands want to touch something soft or nice, my nose wants to smell something fragrant, right? And based on our interaction with the sense objects, the senses will develop either attachment to that thing or aversion to that thing, right? Oh, I tasted something and it is very spicy or it is very bitter, then I will not eat. My mind will get the impression my sense was not pleased with this, don't give it to me again. So I'll develop an aversion to that thing and I will stop eating that thing, right? Similarly, I saw something that was very unpleasing, very gory, bad looking. Then I'll say, oh, I don't want to look at this thing again. Why? Because my eyes were not pleased by looking at this. So in this way, or I saw something beautiful, I want to keep looking at it again and again. I heard a song that was very pleasing to my ears, right? Versus then I heard a song that was very, very loud, that kind of music that I don't like. So then I will develop aversion to that. So my mind will create these impressions of what I like, what I don't like, it will create attachments and aversions like that. So then my senses will hanker for those things over and over again. This music pleased me last time, so I will go and hear this music over and over again. This person's music, this actor's music, this musician's music, like that I will go and hear it. Whereas this person's music I did not like, so I will develop an aversion and will not hear it again, right? So in this way, our senses are basically ruling us. So we are the das of our senses. We are the servant of our senses. We are not really servant of Krishna. We are servant of our senses. So we are go das. Go means senses, and das means servant. We are go das. We are not Goswamis. Goswamis means somebody who's a master of their senses. And actually, the master, the true controller of the senses is Krishna. And what is the name Krishna is given because he's the controller of all our senses? Krishna has a name.
Sorry, madam. What is the other name?
So Krishna, Krishna has so many names, Prabhuji, so many names, and each name has a meaning. So one of his names means that he's
Vasudev. Vasudev, we have one more name, right?
Vasudev, so many names, right? Govinda, Keshav, Madhav. So like that, there is a name which says that he's the controller of our senses, of all senses. Anybody wants to answer? Kids will know. Sometimes Arjun refers to Krishna with that name in verses. Nirbhay Prabhu knows?
I'm not sure. I'm thinking like Jitendriya is one name, but I don't remember when it's used in Bhagavad Gita.
So,
is it Paramatma?
Okay. Okay. So I'll give a hint. There is a pilgrimage in India by that name. There is a dham that people very famously visit. It is by that.
Parandam. Purushottama Param.
Okay. So controller of senses means Rishikesh. So Krishna is called Rishikesh. Rishikesh means that he is the controller of senses. So there is a beautiful verse which comes in Narad Puran. It says, Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktiruchyate. That sarvopadhi vinirmuktam, give up all the upadhis, give up all the designations you have, right? You think I'm a female, I'm a Indian, I'm a brown, I am a whatever profession, whatever mother, all these various designations. Give up sarvopadhi vinirmuktam. Tat paratvena nirmalam. In that mood, purify your senses. Nirmalam. Nirmal means pure, right? And how do you purify your senses? Rishikena Rishikesha. Rishikena means use your senses in the service of Rishikesh, who's a master or controller of our senses. So that is the best use your senses can have, is to use them in service of the Lord. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. So by doing the seva of the Lord, of Rishikesh with your senses, is called bhakti. So this process of bhakti, basically it's not a dry process. It just means that you're using your senses in service of the Lord. So that is called Krishnendriya Priti Ichha. So when you use your senses in service of the Lord, they immediately become, from lust you go to love, from calm you go to prem, right? And it becomes devotional service. So devotional service is equal to love for the Lord, where you use everything you have, including your senses, in service of the person who has given those senses, who's the actual master of those senses. So Rishikesh is the name for Krishna as a controller of the senses. Does that ring a bell, Rishikesh? Right? Yeah. So that is being shared here, that we should be vinivritta kama. We should be free from the kam or the lust. Okay, let me share this slide again. And then the last part of this was Dvandve Vimukta. I think we have talked about this many times. Be freed from the dualities, and that person can achieve my supreme destinations. So let's go to the next verse. We'll do this one more and see how much time we have. 15.6, also a memory verse, very, 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 very important and easy to memorize. Please, please remember this verse. If anybody asks, where does Krishna say that once having come to my abode, you never come back? This is the verse. Actually says that many places, but this is a very beautiful verse where he says that. So let's recite this. We'll try to recite it 3 times. 15.6. नातद्भास्यते सूर्यो
न तद्भास्यते सूर्यो
न शशाङ्को न पावका
न शशाङ्को न पावकः
यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते
यद्गत्वा
यद्गत्वा न
निवर्तन्ते
निवर्तन्ते
तद्धाम परमं मम.
तद्धाम परमं मम.
Who all want to recite this from memory? Who already know? We will follow. Yes, Avedi, please.
नातद्भासते सूर्यो
न तद्भास्यते
नास्ते
सूर्यो
सूर्यो
न शशाङ्को न पावका
न
न
शशाङ्को न
शशाङ्को न
पावका
पावकः
यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते
यद्गत्वा न
यद्गत्वा
निवर्तन्ते
तद्धाम परमं मम
तद्धाम परमं मम.
मम.
Very bold. Thank you, Vedavi. Very nicely recited. Who else? I can't
I
see.
can continue.
Yes, yes. I'll still keep it on the screen.
नातद्भास्यते सूर्यो
न तद्भास्यते सूर्यो
न शशाङ्कः पावकः
न शशाङ्को न पावका यद्
यद् गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते
यद्गत्वा
यद्
न निवर्तन्ते
निवर्तन्ते
तद्धाम परमं मम.
तद्धाम परमं मम. Thank you, Prabhuji.
तद्धाम परमं मम. Okay, very bold. Everybody together once more. Let's all recite together. न तद्भासते
नास्ते
सूर्यो
सूर्यो
न
न शशाङ्कः
शशाङ्को न पावका
यद्
यद्गत्वा न
यद्गत्वा न
निवर्तन्ते
निवर्तन्ते
तद्धाम
तद्धाम
परमं
परमं
मम.
मम.
Such a beautiful, beautiful verse. Can anybody read the translation? Okay. Yes, Prabhuji, please read. Prabhuji, we can't hear you.
You're talking about me.
Okay, now we could hear.
Okay, thanks. So, not vasayate suryo na
Na tadbhasyate suryo
nasansko na papa
na
न
sapaka
शशाङ्को न पावकः
yadvattvana nivardate
yadgatva na
यद्गत्वा न
nivartante
निवर्तन्ते
taddama paramam mama.
tadhama
तद्धाम
paramam
परमं मम.
mama. Prabhuji, please read the translation also.
The English translation below.
Prabhuji got frozen. Okay, anybody else wants to read? Okay, I will read. That supreme abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or the moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. So very easy to memorize actually. If you are inspired, please memorize it for next time. Natat bhasyate suryo, right? Where there is no need for sun, where with the place that is not illuminated by sun. Suryo means sun. Na shashanko, shashank is chand or moon, right? Na shashanko. Na pavaka, pavaka means fire or electricity. Yad gatva, so there is no need for illumination by sun, by fire, electricity, or by moon, right? These are our 4 main sources of light in this world, right? The sun, the moon, the fire, and electricity. Yad gatvana nivartante. Once having gone to this place, tad dhama parmam na nivartante. Nobody ever comes back. Tad dhama paramam mama. That supreme abode. Param means supreme. Dham means abode. That supreme abode is my abode, mama. Tad dhama paramam mama. So where there is no illumination needed by sun, moon, fire or electricity, and once having gone there, nobody ever comes back, that supreme abode is my abode. So you never come back to material world again. So far Krishna was giving us in the first 4 verses the nature of this material world, how it is a perverted reflection, how everything just binds you here like a daldal, like a bog. You just keep getting more and more stuck chasing after the shadows, and everything is so temporary, everything is ignorance, right? All those things you shared. Then Krishna says you need to break this tree by the acts of detachment. And how can you detach? Krishna gave that in the last verse, in verse 5, that you should be free from dualities, you should not associate with the material nature, you should be free from the sukha and dukkha, right? All those things. You should be free from false prestige and illusion. Then you can come to my world. And once you come to my world, now Krishna is saying, what happens? You will never come back. So this person who had all these qualities now has gone to Krishna's abode. So Krishna is saying this place is illuminated by me alone. There is no sun there, there is no moon there, there is no, all these inferior energies of Krishna are not there. All these separated energies are not needed, right? All you need is me. With my effulgence, with the light coming from my body, the Brahma Jyoti, I'm illuminating everything. The whole spiritual sky is illuminated just by the effulgence, the light coming from the Lord. You don't need any of these separated energies of the Lord there, right? Here in this material world, if you think about it, we are so dependent on these things. Like for example, if sun was not there, the life cannot exist, because we need the heat, we need the solar energy. The plants make their food by photosynthesis or the light from the sun, right? We need that solar energy, the thermal energy, the heat effect, the light effect of the sun, right? We need all this hydropower, the thermal power, the wind energy, all these different energies that we utilize to make electricity. Electricity is, after all, electrical energy is being converted from all these other energies, right? From the sun and from water and from wind, right? Sun, water, wind, what are these? These are Krishna's separated energies. Anybody remembers that verse that says that these are all my separated energies? It comes in 7th chapter. Anybody remembers then? Okay, so I'll just mention very quickly 7.4. Bhumerapo nalo vayu kammano buddhirevacha ahankar iti amme bhinna prakritir ashtada. That earth, water, fire, air, space, and mind, intellect, ego. These are 8 components of my separated material energies. Ahankar iti amme bhinna prakritir ashtada. These are my separated inferior energies. So all these things, earth, air, water, fire, that we are using to make electricity and for other things, right? These are all just separated inferior energies of Krishna. And there is no role of these inferior energies. There is no need for them in the spiritual world. Spiritual world is self-illuminous, right? So that is one quality of the spiritual world, that you're not dependent on the material energies like we are dependent here. Secondly, once you go there, you never come back to this material world, which is just dukkhalyam shashvatam, where everything is so temporary and so distressful, right? So, can anybody give an example how in this material world we are dependent on these material energies or these material elements that are separated parts of the Lord? How we are so dependent in your daily life? Can you share some examples? Let's see, kids should be able to share. What different energies are you using every day? And we can practically not imagine our life without those energies. We are so dependent on them. Who can share? Let's see. I'm gonna pick people if nobody's ready to share. And if you share first, because there are so many examples, if you share first, then you can share more. Otherwise, you'll run out. Everybody has to share at least one.
I think once you'll give an example, then the other kids will come up with more.
Okay.
Like, I don't want to start. Like, I'll give one example. If nobody else has raised hand, I can't see.
Hema Mataji sharing something. Yes, Hema, please.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't raise my hand and started speaking. My apologies. So I was just giving example of water. it's a energy of from Krishna, and we can't live without water at all. From the moment
100%.
we wake up.
Yes. Very bold. Yes, water. We cannot live without water, right? Ek din if you have to keep Nirjala Ekadashi, you know the importance of water. Plus, even if I cannot even keep Nirjal fasting at all. Plus, all the water that you need for cooking, for washing, right? For doing your dishes, for your laundry, so much water. That is what Krishna says. That is my separated energy, right? Okay, water. Very excellent, Mataji. Ashok Prabhu, were you sharing something? Please share. Okay. Anybody else can give an example? Various separated material energies that we are so dependent on that are not needed in the spiritual world. Yes. Avni, sorry, Vedahi and then Raina.
I was going to say air because, like, if we don't breathe, then we'll die. But I don't know if we do or don't need that in the spiritual world.
So what about in connection with this shloka where Krishna is talking about sun, moon, fire, electricity as an expansion to that? Are there any things we need, we're dependent on? Let's see what Raina is sharing. Yes, Raina.
I mean, it's what this sloka says, right? We don't need like other forms of light in the spiritual world because it's self like luminous. Because the purport says that all spiritual planets like light themselves up, but we need the sun and the moon and other forms of light to live here, but we won't need that in the spiritual world.
Yes, without light you can't even see anything, right? In the darkness, like I mean, it is so hard when the bulb was invented, right? Everybody was glorifying Thomas Edison so much because we needed that light. Otherwise, darkness brings us fear, right? Darkness brings fearfulness. So there is always light in the spiritual world, right? There is always effulgence in the spiritual world by the Lord. So the darkness is a very scary situation. We need light even to just see, even to see our hand, we need light. So we are very dependent on the light, right? And then, I'll give more examples to see if other people. And yes, Veda's example also, air, those are all material elements, earth, water, air, fire, ether, right? They are material elements. So I trust that they exist in material world. And anything that exists in spiritual world, only, we are not dependent on those things. We are dependent only on the Lord. That is the beauty of spiritual world. We're dependent only on the Lord. But here we are dependent on these energies, right? Like electricity. Who can here go without electricity? For this Zoom meeting, we need electricity, right? For our gadgets, right? I work in the hospital. So many people are on ventilators, right? You need electricity to keep them alive, to keep them on ventilator, right? We need electricity for practically everything these days, right? For our internet, right? For our that Wi-Fi that you're using, that is nothing but one of the material energies that we have manufactured, right? What else? You need fire, right? Fire to keep us warm, to cook our food, right? That fire is what we are channeling into also electricity. So I think we have taken enough examples unless something else comes to mind. Okay, so in spiritual world, it is described. Prabhupada mentions in his lectures that every step is a dance, every word is a song, right? And Lord is in the center, and you're not dependent on anything but the Lord. So love, bliss, knowledge, servitude, that is what prevails everywhere in the spiritual world. Completely opposite situation to that of the material world. So Krishna is attracting us that, if once you develop detachment from this material world, break that tree, cut down that tree, you'll come back to my abode, and my abode, you are just dependent on me and you will never come back. It is a very self-illuminated, very, very effulgent place, illuminated by my Brahma Jyoti, by my effulgence, not by all these material elements. Okay. Anybody else wants to share anything? If not, we can stop here and continue next time.
Yes, I was just thinking about also it says moon in that verse. So, and then in another verse, Krishna says that all the nutrition and vegetables and plants comes from the moon. So without that, then that's not possible. Uh, so all the nutrition that we get is the plants survive from the sun, and then the nutrition is delivered by the moon. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yes. One more point that was coming to my mind, which I forgot to mention when we were discussing the differences between spiritual and material world. So this point is very nice. I think you will appreciate. In material world, we said material world is a shadow or a reflection, right? It is a reflection of a tree, let's say. How can you disturb a reflection? All you have to do is like throw a little pebble. Like I know Nirbhay Prabhu and Navya sometimes play that game where they throw this pebble and see how far it will go, right? How many times you can make it bounce. So you throw a little pebble, little twig, and it will disturb that reflection. It will shake, the reflection will shake violently, right? Right? The reflection of the tree will shake violently. But to shake an actual tree, how much effort is needed, right? You cannot really shake the real tree, right? But the reflection, even with a little twig, little pebble, you can shake. So in material world, because it is a reflection, it is just a shadow of the real thing, right? It is prone to get disturbed very easily. It is prone to disturbance, which means that whatever it is, whether it's our health, our relationships, our whatever situation around us, those situations, those things can get disturbed very easily in this material world. It is very difficult to maintain things at their best, at their most glory in their most glory in this material world, because things have a tendency to get disturbed very easily. Like I may have a perfect relationship with Bedahi, for example. I love her, we enjoy, we have fun, we have so many nice conversations, we go out, everything. Then one day she will say something slightly off to me that I don't like. And I'll get disturbed, right? I'll start thinking about it. Why did she say that to me? How dare she say that to me? I'm never going to talk to her, right? So like that, things get disturbed very easily in this material world, right? Our health, right? Very, very small virus, such a small thing, such a small virus, microscopic, cannot even be perceived by our eyes, can disturb our health so easily, right? A little bacteria, a little virus. So in this way, things are very, very prone to get disturbed in this material world. Whereas in spiritual world, everything like we talked about enhances, gets more beautiful, gets more glorious, more knowledgeable, knowledge increases, bliss increases, right? So like that, there is no disturbance there. Here, being a shadow, everything gets very, very easily destroyed and disturbed. That was a point that was coming to my mind before I wanted to share. Okay, anybody else wants to share any realizations, reflections, thoughts, or questions? Okay, if not, we will stop and chant one round together. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for joining. Vancha kaltarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.